Welcome to Panama, the bridge of the world, where the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans meet through the Great Panama Canal, a project that shortened the shipping route from 22,500 kilometers to just 82 kilometers, changing the history of global trade. With an area of 75,420 square kilometers, a population of more than 4.6 million people, and a GDP forecast of more than $91 billion in 2025, Panama is small but strategically rich, a convergence of indigenous, European, African, and Asian cultures. You can stroll in Casco Viejo, the UNESCO old town filled with Spanish architecture and salsa music, or find the San Blas archipelago with 365 islands and the Guna people living in harmony with the blue sea and coral reefs. Panama also offers a brilliant carnival festival, giant ships passing through the Miraflores Lock, and the Darien rainforest, the green lung of the Americas. On this journey, we will explore 10 unique parts, from Volcan Baru, a mountain peak overlooking two oceans, to the world's most expensive geisha coffee and the laid-back Panamanian lifestyle. If you love this topic, please subscribe to the channel and leave your comments below. Now, let's start the adventure. Panama is located in Central America, the narrowest strip of land in the Americas, with a narrow point of only 50 kilometers, connecting North and South America like a natural bridge. The country borders Costa Rica 330 kilometers to the west, Colombia 225 kilometers to the east, the Caribbean Sea to the north with 1,700 kilometers of coastline, and the Pacific Ocean to the south with a length of 790 kilometers, creating a total of 2,490 kilometers of coastline with countless coves, white sand beaches, and caves. With an area of 75,420 square kilometers, Panama owns more than 1,600 large and small islands, from the San Blas archipelago, Guna Yala, with 365 coral islands where the Guna tribe lives, to Bocas del Toro with a rich marine ecosystem, or Coiba Island, a UNESCO heritage 503 square kilometers wide, the largest island in the Pacific Americas. Panama's varied topography includes a low-lying coastal area where the 82 kilometers long Panama Canal winds, and the bustling port of Balboa, the Cordillera Central mountain range running through the center with Volcan Baru at 3,474 m, a rare point where you can see both oceans at once, and the 5,790 square kilometers Darien Gap rainforest, one of the last untouched wildernesses in the Americas. A dense river system with more than 500 rivers, notably the Tuira River and the longest Chuquianac River, 231 kilometers. In addition, the 425 square kilometers Gatun Lake, part of the canal, plays a key role in supplying water to the lock system. Panama's climate is humid tropical, with two distinct seasons, a rainy season from May to November with rainfall of up to 3,000 to 4,000 millimeters in the Caribbean and Darien regions, and a dry season from December to April with pleasant cool winds. Average temperatures are 27 degrees Celsius during the day and 22 degrees Celsius at night, but mountainous areas like Boquete are a cool 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, famous for its flower gardens and geisha coffee. Located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, Panama has frequent mild earthquakes, but also produces the El Valle de Anton hot springs in a 6 km wide ancient volcano crater. Panama's history dates back to prehistoric times, with indigenous tribes such as the Guna, Cuna, Embera, and Ngay Bugle migrating here 12,000 years ago, living on hunting, fishing, and agriculture on the San Blas Islands and the Darien Mountains, building tribal societies with sacred leadership systems and the art of moldes, embroidered cloths that tell family stories, that still survive today. In 1501, Spanish explorer Rodrigo de Bastidas was the first European to discover the coast of Panama, leading to the conquest by Pedro Arias de Villa in 1513, who founded Panama City Viejo, the first gold port in the Americas, where thousands of tons of gold from Peru were transported via the Las Cruces Trail to the Caribbean before being sent back to Spain. During colonial times, 1513 to 1821, Panama was a center of trade with mule caravans transporting goods across the isthmus, but it was also the scene of famous pirate raids such as Henry Morgan's attack on Panama Viejo in 1671, destroying the city and forcing its relocation to Casco Antiguo. After independence from Spain in 1821, Panama joined Gran Colombia under Simón Bolívar, but after its dissolution in 1831, it became part of the Republic of Colombia, which saw over 80 local rebellions due to its strategic location. In 1903, with the support of the United States through the Habeas Treaty, Panama seceded from Colombia after a brief 3-day revolution, leading to the construction of the Panama Canal from 1904 to 1914 under the leadership of George Washington Goethals, at a cost of $375 million at that time, and more than 5,600 workers died from malaria and accidents. Opened in 1914 to connect the two oceans and shorten the sea route from New York to San Francisco from 22,500 kilometers to 9,500 kilometers. The period of U.S. control, 1903 to 1999, saw struggles such as the 1964 flag riots that left 22 dead, prompting the 1977 Torrijos-Carter Treaty that handed over the canal in 1999. The 20th century also saw leaders such as Omar Torrijos, 1968 to 1981, who modernized the country with land reform and education, but also a dictatorship under Manuel Noriega, 1983 to 1989, who was overthrown by the U.S. in 1989 in Operation Just Cause, which left 500 dead. Since 2000, Panama has consolidated democracy with presidents such as Mireya Moscoso, its first female leader, and more recently Jose Raul Mulino, from 2024, who focused on the 2016 $5.25 billion expansion of the canal to accommodate the twice-large Neo-Panamax. Panama's history is one of conquest, sovereignty struggles, and economic development, with heritage sites such as Portobello Fortress, where pirate Francis Drake died in 1596, and Casco Viejo, a 17th-century colonial architectural preserve. Panamanian women, who make up about 50% of the population and number more than 2.3 million in 2025 according to the CIA Factbook, embody a diverse and resilient beauty, combining indigenous, African, European, and Asian heritage, not only in appearance but also in spirit and social contributions, creating a unique cultural appeal for Panama. Their physical beauty is accentuated by their ethnic mix, the radiant brown skin and radiant smiles of African women in the Colón region, with their naturally curly hair and vibrant Caribbean style. The delicate features, long dark hair, and deep-set eyes of mestizo women in Panama City, often paired with elaborate gold jewelry, or the natural beauty, large eyes, and tanned skin of indigenous Guna women in San Blas, with their facial tattoos and molas, colorfully embroidered cloths that adorn their strong bodies from their seafaring lifestyle. The traditional polera dress, a white dress embroidered with more than 10 layers of fabric and adorned with gold molas, celebrates this beauty in festivals such as the Festival de la Polera in Los Santos, where women perform the graceful tamborito dance, attracting 50,000 visitors by 2025 and exporting $15 million worth of polera. The spirit of Panamanian women shines through their resilience, from Rufina Alfaro, the heroine who led the 1821 independence movement in Los Santos, who is honored with statues and schools named after her, to Mireya Moscoso, the first female president, 1999 to 2004, who promoted female education, increasing female literacy to 94% and female university attendance to 45%. In modern society, women like Ana Sofia Corrales, a fintech entrepreneur in Panama City, lead a startup that contributes 10% to the financial services GDP, or the Imbro women of Darien who make handmade baskets from palm leaves, preserving indigenous culture and generating income for the community with sales of $5 million per year. However, challenges remain. The gender pay gap will see women earn 15% less than men by 2024 according to the World Bank, and domestic violence rates will affect 20% of women according to the INEI survey in 2023, leading to programs like Mujeres Emprendedoras supporting 10,000 women to start their own businesses. In rural areas like Boquete, Gay Bugle women, with their strong beauty from working on geisha coffee plantations, the world's most expensive coffee at $1,000 per kilogram, represent a resilient vitality. The beauty of Panamanian women is a blend of physical color, creative talent, and spiritual strength, connecting traditions like Molas Guna with modern futures, inspiring tourists and global society. With an estimated population of 4.6 million in 2025 according to World Population Review, Panama has an average density of 61 people/km superscript 2, but the distribution is uneven. 70% is concentrated in urban areas such as Panama City, 1.5 million people, the largest city in Central America, while indigenous areas such as Darien have only 10 people/km superscript 2. The ethnic composition is diverse, 70% mestizo, mixed Spanish and indigenous, 14% African descent from colonial slavery, 10% indigenous with 7 main tribes such as Guna, Embera, and Gay Bugle making up 12% of the population and living in autonomous comarcas covering 22% of the territory, and 6% Asian descent from 19th century canal laborers. Spanish is the official language spoken by 90% of the population, but English is common in the Canal District, spoken fluently by 20% of the population. Creole is in the Afro-Caribbean region, and 7 indigenous languages such as Guna and Buglera are preserved through bilingual education in the comarcas. Panamanian culture is a colorful mosaic of indigenous traditions and colonial influences. The tamborito dance, a Spanish-African fusion of conga drums and colorful polera skirts, reverberates through the villages. Salsa and reggae music from the Caribbean permeates artists like Ruben Blades, a Grammy-winning singer with a song about social justice, and the Guna women create molas, hand-embroidered fabrics that tell mythological stories and sell for $50 to $200 at Panama City's artisan markets. Roman Catholics make up 80% of the population, but are intertwined with indigenous beliefs like ancestor worship in the Embera and shamanic ceremonies using ayahuasca. Popular sports include baseball, Panama won the 2006 World Cup, and boxing, with legend Roberto Duran, while street food like fresh fish ceviche and sancocho chicken soup reflects the diversity. By 2024, the traditional polera and molas fashion industry will export $15 million, contributing to the cultural economy. A major challenge is urban-rural inequality, with 20% of the poor concentrated in indigenous areas according to the World Bank, prompting programs like Cultura Viva to preserve heritage through schools. Panama's vibrant and diverse culture, from Casco Viejo with its Baroque colonial architecture to the Guna villages on the atolls, bridges the colonial past and globalized modernity. Panama's Carnival is a celebration of indigenous, Caribbean, and Spanish colonial culture, attracting more than 500,000 visitors by 2025, according to IMF projections, contributing around $300 million to tourism with an 8% year-on-year growth, making the country a vibrant cultural destination in Central America. Carnival, the biggest festival in February in Los Tublas and Panama City, lasts 4 days with fireworks parades, colored water, and cumbia music, attracting 200,000 spectators and featuring the women's brightly embroidered gold polera dresses, a colonial-era celebration with African rhythms. Festival de la Polera, held in November in Los Santos, celebrates traditional dresses with tamborito competitions and craft demonstrations, attracting 30,000 visitors and exporting $5 million worth of poleras a year. Dia de los Santos, 1 to 2 November, in rural areas like Portobello combines Catholicism and Indigenousism, with families decorating graves, singing traditional boleros and eating tamales wrapped in banana leaves, remembering ancestors in an African tradition dating back to slavery. Portobello's Festival de Diablos y Congos, January, reenacts the African struggle against colonialism with dancers wearing devil masks and vibrant Congo drumming, attracting 10,000 visitors and was recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage in 2009. In the San Blas Islands, the Guna Festival, February, celebrates the Guna tribe's independence in 1925 with wooden canoes, traditional dances, and a fish festival where Guna women wearing hand-embroidered molas tell mythological stories, attracting 5,000 eco-tourists. By 2025, festivals are adopting sustainable measures such as a 30% reduction in single-use plastics as part of a government plan, with Carnival limiting tickets to protect the environment and promote community-based tourism. These festivals are not only vibrant with Caribbean rhythms and vibrant costumes, but also sacred, connecting the legacy of African slavery with the Guna indigenous and Spanish colonial, offering visitors a deep cultural experience from Diablada dancing to the Rain Festival in Darien. Panama is one of the world's top 17 megadiverse countries, with more than 10,000 plant species, 1% of the world's total. Despite covering only 0.05% of the Earth's surface, 1,000 bird species, more than all of North America, and 200 mammal species such as jaguars, Capuchin monkeys, and three-toed sloths, making it the richest ecosystem in Central America. The Darien Gap Rainforest, a UNESCO World Heritage Site covering 5,790 square kilometers, is the last wilderness area in the Americas, home to more than 2 million hectares of pristine forest, home to the critically endangered golden frog Atelopus zedeki, and the harpy eagle, the largest bird of prey with a wingspan of 2 m. The Bocas del Toro archipelago in the Caribbean has a 100 square kilometers coral reef with more than 200 species of colorful fish and anemones, while Coiba National Park, the largest island in the Pacific Ocean at 503 square kilometers, protects humpback whales that migrate annually and olive ridley sea turtles that lay eggs on pristine beaches. Panama has 15 national parks covering 25% of its land area, such as Soberania near the canal with 525 bird species and the Pipeline Road Trail, the world's leading bird-watching spot. The river system has more than 500 rivers, including the Rio Chagres that feeds the canal and created the 425 square kilometers Gatun Lake, the largest artificial lake in the Americas when it was built in 1913. However, deforestation due to agriculture and urbanization reduces 50,000 hectares/year according to the Ministry of Environment's 2024 report, threatening biodiversity with 20% of species at risk of extinction. In 2025, the UN REDD+ Conservation Plan invests $200 million to increase protected areas to 30%, focusing on the Darien forest to reduce carbon emissions by 15%. The Caribbean and Pacific coasts of 1,600 islands from San Blas to Toboga offer unique landscapes such as the hot springs of El Valle de Anton, an ancient volcanic crater, and the wild orchids of Chiriqui, with more than 1,200 species. Panama's nature is a tropical treasure trove, from sparkling coral reefs to rainforests containing biological secrets, attracting adventure tourism and scientific research, but needs to be protected from climate change, which is increasing flooding by 10% in the Darien. Tourism in Panama is a fast-growing industry with 2.7 million visitors by 2025, according to OECD forecasts, generating $5 billion in revenue and up 8% year-on-year, thanks to a combination of engineering marvels and unspoiled nature, providing jobs for 12% of the workforce. The Panama Canal is the flagship, with the Miraflores locks attracting 1 million visitors a year to see giant container ships like the Neo-Panamax carrying 14,000 containers pass through, combined with an 8-hour boat tour across Gatun Lake for $150. Casco Viejo, the UNESCO-listed Old Town in Panama City, is a magnet for the 17th-century San Jose Church with its golden altarpiece and sunset cafes and colonial buildings restored at a cost of $500 million since 2010. The San Blas, Gunayala archipelago of 365 low-lying islands is an eco-paradise where visitors can kayak with the Guna tribe, snorkel in the coral reefs and stay in thatched huts for $100 a night, attracting 100,000 visitors a year. Bocas del Toro, 9 Caribbean islands, is famous for surfing at Red Frog Beach and snorkeling with dolphins, while the Boquete Valley in Chiriqui has geisha coffee plantations and a 13 kilometers hiking trail up Volcan Baru to see 2 oceans. Coiba National Park, a former prison island now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, offers whale shark diving for $200. And Darien Gap offers adventure travel with rainforest trekking to see howler monkeys and jaguars. By 2025, sustainable tourism will limit visitors to San Blas to 500 people a day to protect Guna culture and the environment. Panamanian cuisine is a melting pot. Fresh seafood ceviche infused with lemon from the Caribbean, sancocho, a warming chicken soup with mountain vegetables, crispy fried plantain patacons with African influences, arroz con pollo, a rice dish of chicken sautéed with onions from Spain, and tamales wrapped in banana leaves filled with local meat. Specialties like corn-fermented chicha de maize and geisha coffee from Boquete can be had for $50 a cup in high-end Panama City cafes. Panama beckons visitors with wonders from canals to deserted islands, and bold flavors from ceviche to sancocho, creating experiences ranging from adventurous to relaxing. Over 10 parts, we've explored Panama, from the Great Canal to the Darien Rainforest, from the vibrant carnival to the unique Guna culture. In 2025, Panama will continue to be a global bridge with a 4% economic growth, 2.7 million sustainable tourism visitors, and a commitment to forest conservation through REDD+. Challenges like inequality and migration remain, but the resilient spirit of the Panamanian people, from indigenous resistance to canal modernization, promises a bright future. If you're intrigued, subscribe to the channel to discover more and leave a comment about the Panamanian place you want to visit. Thanks for joining us. Let Panama conquer your heart.